Welcome to the Filipino American Women Project, a podcast show that shares stories and life lessons told by individuals living or have lived in America that are of Filipino descent and identify as female. I'm your host, Jen Amos, a fellow Filipino American woman, and I'm excited for you to join us. Let's get started. Hi everyone, Jen Amos here. I am so excited to introduce to you a good friend of mine that was introduced to me by a local friend in San Diego. She is an inspirational influencer, two-time cancer survivor, and a global traveler. Jaymee Wins, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, Jen? I'm so happy to be talking to you today. As always, I love being on your Facebook Live, so this is no different. I think I'm just ecstatic that we're doing this again.
I know. I agree. I feel like it's just so crazy because I met, like I mentioned, Jaymee and I were introduced to each other by a local friend in San Diego. I'm not there anymore. Obviously, I'm here in Virginia. But when we connected, it was instant chemistry. She just has this lust and adventure for life. And she is a young spirit and she has a lot to share. And so why don't we just kind of jump into it, Jaymee? And I would love for people to hear your story. So we had actually about a year ago, just a little background. A year ago, I did interview Jaymee. And I remember one of the first things she asked me was, what do you consider a Filipino American woman? Because Jaymee is actually from the Philippines I believe as a first immigrant, what do they call that? First generation immigrant, right? Where you came directly from the Philippines. And so you were asking me can I be on the show? And I tell people that I qualify Filipino American women as individuals who live or have lived in America and identify as female. Hey everyone, Jen here. Just wanted to cut in the middle. I also forgot to add that we qualify individuals living or have lived in America who identify as female and are of Filipino descent. Okay, let's jump right back in. And so, Jaymee, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about your background, your prior life before being in America today, and why you identify as a Filipino American woman today?
Sure. Well, I am born and raised in the Philippines. So I am Filipino in a lot of ways. But the thing is, I was taught in the American education in the Philippines, even back home. So I grew up kind of having both cultures, living in the Philippines, but having an American education and getting immersed with the Filipino American community in the Philippines, and just in general with having friends because I think I've always been fascinated with, America and Americans, just because, that's the TV show I watch and the movies I watch and the books I read. And so I've always been, curious. So every time there's a Filipino American group in the Philippines, I always kind of try to join in, which sometimes made me feel awkward back home because they're like, she's not really from America, but, she kind of sounds American. But I don't know, I'm like this weird girl who's like, she sounds American, she knows a lot about American, but she's never been to America. You know what I mean? So that's what kind of made me like a little bit of a weird mix in a good way. Mm-hmm. And so back in the Philippines, I was in the media industry. I was doing modeling before I did TV. So I did commercial modeling, which jump started to events, hosting, and then I had my own TV game show back home. And I turned 30 years old, and I just had this experience of just wanting to explore the world. I felt like the world has so much to offer, and I want to see what's out there. And so I did the whole quit your job, pack your bags, and travel the world thing. And I started with Australia. I lived there for a year and a half. I was studying communications and media and doing bartending on the sides and also doing some retail on the weekends. I was just doing what college students in America would normally do, because I think I never experienced that in the Philippines. I'm like, I've always been curious how it's like to study in a first world country and be a student, part-time student, part-time working, working student. So I experienced that in Australia, and then the visa expired, and I still wasn't done. So I moved to Spain
Mm-hmm.
and was an English teacher, a second language there for 4 years. And there's always long weekends in Spain, so I was just traveling all the time during, during down days, and any opportunity I have, I just take the Renfe to the nearest city close by and just explore for 2 or 3 days and take cheap flights everywhere. So I was just, exploring Europe and teaching English as second language and doing a little bit of commercial work as well for Spain. And then I decided to move to America 4 years ago. And I've been here. When I started to come here, I was just more like, I'm just curious again. Because I've always been the curious soul. See, my mind is
Yeah.
very curious. I'm a wanderlust. So I said like, oh, might as well try what's it like in America. So I went here, did hospitality industry in the beginning just because it was the first job that took me here in San Diego, and from there I thought I had it all together. I thought like, oh, I'm just gonna climb the career ladder in the hotel industry or a restaurant or something like that. But I got diagnosed with early stage breast cancer on 2017, and
Mm.
did the whole, I mean, actually it was 2016, but I did the whole treatment on 2017. So that year was dedicated for my treatment for early stage breast cancer. And 2018 was kind of like the emotional and physical recovery because I was a little bit, you know, of course, it had that effect on me. I was a little depressed and I was worried and I felt weak from all the treatments. So I was recovering 2018 and
Mm-hmm.
slowly transitioning to the real world. But 2019, just early this year, I had an early recurrence, and I'm now on treatment again, but not as aggressive as my first one. So it's just hormone therapy. And I am just very blessed that the treatment is responding very well according to my last scans. It's showing shrinkage and it's just doing well. So now this is my third chance at life, and I just can't shut up because I have to talk about life, about inspiring people. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, shit, man, I'm just given the third chance at life. What am I going to do? Just sit down? I can't. So now I'm like,
Yeah.
oh God, I have to do video blogs. I have to do Instagram. I have to just get interviewed, not because I want fame, but because I think I need to preach that, guys, oh my God, just enjoy your life. This is
Mm-hmm.
it. You'll never know. You'll never know when cancer is going to come or when, I don't know, death is going to come. It's just very random now. So now I'm just like all about preaching how to appreciate life and just enjoy and live in the moment. It's so true. It's not cliche. So this is my story right now. Now I'm all passionate about just living and just enjoying each and every second that you're here, and you get to experience things, simple things like eating food or just sleeping well, or I don't know, just talking to people, having fun with your loved ones. It's those little things now. It's not really about the big things anymore.
Yeah.
So this is where I'm at.
Jaymee, I love it. And I've just loved your journey, before I met you and then when I met you and where you're at today. And if there's any common theme since I've known you for as long as I've known you, which is I think a good, I don't know, a year, it's less than 2 years at this
Yes.
point. You're just very optimistic and you know how to turn what do they say? You know how to turn lemonade out of lemons, and
Yes.
I just that's why I knew that I had to interview on the show because there are some Filipino women who feel like they don't have a story to share, or they need someone such as yourself who is exuberant and excited and saying like, hey, don't just sit there, get up and do something and enjoy your life because you only have one of it. This is your only chance to live it. And hopefully for people that are listening to this, they'll feel extremely motivated. I hear you, the way you talk is very normal for me, but even so, it's always very like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited because it's Jaymee. And she's making me excited just the way that she's talking. And so I love just everything that's been, I mean, even with what you're currently going through, I love that you still have an optimistic look on things and you're still living your best life. I do want to circle back to your former life in the Philippines, and you mentioned that you were a celebrity and a former TV game show host, and I don't think you mentioned that in your story just now, but I'd love for you to share, at 30, why did you decide to drop all that? Like you were very successful, you were doing really well, and you decided to just drop it all and travel the world.
Because I think people, I mean, when you're young, you just think that fame and money is everything. We all go through that phase. And I was there. I really wanted to prove something to the world that
Hmm.
I can be somebody. I can achieve my dreams because I've always wanted to be famous. I've always wanted to be. I think it started when I was young, and I always watched beauty pageants, and I know I'm not tall enough to join it. So
Mm,
I felt like I needed to do something else that will make me land a spot on TV or in the media that doesn't involve pageantry. And so I have always been the one to punch the walls, like, because even when I was doing modeling, I wasn't the trend in the Philippines. They wanted the mixed look, like Filipino Australian, the half white, half Asian was the thing during my time. And I look very, very Filipino, very Asian.
mhm.
And so I had to try harder. I had to really like develop my camera skills and my walking skills on the runway for the teen fashion shows, because I've always been that kind of girl that I want to impress people, not in a sense that I want to make them happy, but I want to say that, hey, even if I'm not the stereotype, or I'm not the what is in demand, or I'm not tall enough or whatever, I'm still gonna make it. So I've always been
Yeah.
that overachiever person. And I think when I got the game show in the Philippines, it was my own game show, and no co-hosting or whatever. And I really curved a spot in the midnight slot for that
Yeah.
show, which was mine. It's called Games Up Late Live. And by the way, people, if you're listening and you want to Google me up, my former celebrity name was Jaymee Joaquin, so I changed it because the Jaymee Wins is my blogger name. It's a self-reinforcement because of my cancer diagnosis. I want to remind myself that each and every day I am winning. It doesn't matter if it's a little win, such as getting up in the morning and doing my job and making people smile and doing my blog and stuff like that. But my former celebrity name was Jaymee Joaquin. And so when I became successful in that midnight show, I was on my way. I think it was just a jump start. I was gonna keep going and be one of the mainstream hosts back in the Philippines. But I think what triggered me to stop is I felt like, I don't know, the fame and the money and the power just intimidated me. Maybe it's not as just because I agree with what Spider-Man said. Great power with great power comes great responsibility. I felt like, wait. I think now I believe when people say be careful with what you wish for, because I felt like when I was there, I just felt that pressure to be perfect, to look good, to always smile at people. I can't have a bad day, especially in the Philippines. They really worship you when you're a celebrity. It's a big
Wow.
deal. Like they really look at you. They really like ask for your picture. They just always ask you about your life, and they check out what you're wearing head to toe. Like the people are just like
Yeah.
all eyes are on you. And that's how I felt. I felt caged. I felt like, hey, I can't breathe anymore. I can't just go out and buy milk. I need to like get dressed just to pick up something in the laundry or laundromat or something like that. I just
Yeah.
felt like there was no freedom. And I think when you're young, you feel like that's freedom. You feel like, hey, if I get the money and the power, I can do whatever I want. But I think, well, in my case, it just didn't feel like that. I felt like people owned me, because in the Philippines, it's more people power than the artist power during my time. Now it's changing because of
Yeah.
social media. It's the artists who have the control. But my time, you please your audience, so your audience will call the shots. So whatever they want, like they want you to have long hair, they want you to be skinny and fair skinned, so you gotta like fit in. So that's how I felt. I felt like I didn't want to be like this, because I want to be Jaymee. I want to be who I am. So
Right.
I think the only way I could achieve a reset, or like that freedom that I was looking for, was living in a foreign country where no one knows me. So I just did the impulsive thing of jumping to Australia, because when I was doing TV in the Philippines, every time I had an opportunity, I was traveling by myself as well for like 2 weeks, just to decompress and to reboot, and then I come back and do the game show. So that was my life. And in Australia, I just felt really, really in love in that city. I just wanted to. I mean, in Sydney in particular, I really loved that city, and I said like I want to live here even just for a while. And so when I finally had enough funds and guts to just do it, I jumped, and that's where it started. And I think I got spoiled living in Australia because I felt that freedom that I was looking for. It's like, wow, no one
Yeah.
knows me. I see myself. I can get dark. No one tells me to get lighter. No one tells me what to say, who to date. It's just, wow, this is just so free. And after that, that's where I didn't want to come back. That's why I kept traveling. I kept jumping because I experienced that, like, the freedom of just being simple and yet you're happy. it's
Yeah.
it's 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 hard to explain because it's like I coming from being a celebrity where you have all the means, because I was making good money. I have all my sponsors. I get free dermatology treatments and all these free clothes and all that. It was fun, but I think when I lived the simple life, it was liberating because I realized like I didn't really need a lot of things. I'm just happy with experiences. I'm just
Yeah.
happy having a few things but quality, and having people like me because they just think I'm a good person, but not because I'm famous. Like it's humbling. I I felt like a human. I'm not like, I don't know, some Barbie doll on display or something.
Yeah,
So I think
definitely.
that's the trigger. It's like, no, there's beauty in simplicity, and people need to reach the fame and money first, I think, before they go back to it. Because I'm sure there are people listening out there who wouldn't agree with me and think, no, we all want to be rich and famous. Of course we do. I mean, I did.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's hard. Like once you're there, you'll see it, but it's hard to know it without trying it. So I still don't discourage people to go for their dreams. Like it's still good to go there, but yes, like once you get there, you'll realize like, oh, now you'll know why people just retire, and they're okay being simple retired. It's just because they've already done it and then they're good.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's awesome that you went through that experience. And yeah, just like what you said, there's a lot of people that would be like, gosh, I wish I was famous because I'd have it all. But fast forward to today, I know that your life is completely different from your life in the Philippines. And even after traveling, I know that you take a lot of pride in being a minimalist and appreciating the little things. So why don't we just fast forward now to today and what your life looks like? I know you're working as a librarian, and I think you work at a yoga studio. So why don't we talk a little bit about that now?
Yeah, so in America, I am doing part-time work as a library assistant, which I really love because I love books and I love being a public servant. It humbles me down. And I think growing up in the Philippines where having library access that's a good library entails expensive tuition fee for college or for university. So I am so amazed at the library in America that it's so nice and complete, and it's public. It's so shallow, but to me, it's like, oh my God, in the Philippines, even my university doesn't have a library this great, and it's like one of the best, highly paid universities. But in America,
Wow.
your public library is so good and so accurate. So I feel like I went to free college right now. I think that's why I love working in the library. I've been borrowing books all the time. I'm browsing at different things, and it's free education to me. It's just
Hmm.
good resource for so many things. And on the side, I also do yoga cleaning because I want to save on my membership. So helping clean the studio gives me that privilege. And on the other part, I'm building my name as an inspirational influencer just because that's the platform where I would really love to share my story to anyone who might need some inspiration and upliftment and empowerment when they're going through really shitty times. And um, it's something I'm currently building right now, which is doing really good. So those are the three I'm juggling. But yeah, so far it's been good. I mean, the social media can sometimes be consuming and frustrating, but it's my passion. So I think I'm trying to do it more for the love of it and for the fulfillment of it more than profit.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Or even the vanity of it. I know it's
yes,
easy to post something and every second you're checking how many likes you got or how many people have seen your stories. Like it's easy to get lost in that, right?
yes. I mean, people always say you shouldn't check it. It shouldn't matter. But oh my God, of course, we're humans. We can't help but check. It's just the way it is, I guess. We just want to know how we're doing. It's like a feedback thing.
All right, Jen Amos here, jumping into the middle of our show, as I always do, to remind you why this show is possible. So, at the end of every episode, I tend to say, if you didn't catch our guest contact info, don't worry, we'll have those in the show notes. Check them out. I worked so hard on them. You're welcome. Well, it's been brought to my attention that our show notes are not as easy to find as I thought, which is why, starting summer 2020, the Filipino American Women Project is proud to be partnering with Captivate, the world's only growth-oriented podcast host. Captivate is created for independent podcasters, designed from day one to help you to focus on audience growth and the expansion of your audio influence. One way that Captivate makes our lives easier as independent podcasters is by taking the guesswork out of making a website for your show. That's right, a website for your show. So listeners, starting summer 2020, finding our show notes will be so much easier. All thanks to Captivate. You're welcome, as always. If you're about to start podcasting or are getting burnt out from all the extra work of producing one, like building a website, consider a 7-day free trial, that's right, free, with Captivate by visiting thefil-am-woman.com. That's the Fil-Am, short for Filipino American Woman.com. Or, check out our show notes in the meantime, which is in the details section of each episode. Once again, you can visit thefil-am-woman.com or visit the details section of this episode.
Yeah, I think it's affirming. And, for someone in my position right now who uh, is fairly new to the East Coast and doesn't have any local friends yet, having access to social media is really just my way of really having a social life and doing podcasting as well and doing these interviews because it's like, okay, cool. Like this, it's easier for me to find my tribe online where if I try to find a tribe in person, I have to drive around. I have to be consistent. I have to go to weekly socials or meetups and try to maintain that relationship. And it can really be a financial investment to make local
Yeah,
friends where,
yeah,
with
it
social
is.
media, with social media for one, it's free. I mean, yeah, there's it's a double-edged sword. Like, there's privacy issues all the time when it comes to social media, but
That's
it is
true.
yeah, it is free. And I can put hashtag Filipina or hashtag Filipino American and I can find Filipinos everywhere, all over the US and the world, and just from my phone, or just from my computer. And I didn't have to change out of my clothes to make that happen. I didn't have to dress up nice. I didn't have to jump in the car. I just had to turn on my computer and make sure I had internet. And before you know it, I'm able to connect with the world. And so I think like social media is it is a double-edged sword, but the reason why we do it is because it does have benefits. Like you do feel connected, you do get that validation. And most importantly, just what you've been talking about this whole time, you get to inspire people. You get to be, you get to share your story and it hopes to touch other people's lives. And that's amazing for social media. A little bit about what you mentioned earlier. You think about how celebrities used to be treated, just like what you were saying, and now because social media is available, celebrities are so much they're humanized so much more. And I feel like fans and followers have so much more empathy for celebrities and artists, especially if they're very vulnerable about, let's say, because depression is a big thing everywhere. And there's a lot of celebrities who've come out saying like, oh, I have depression, I have anxiety, and just being able to use their own platform on social media to share that is really inspiring. So yeah, I love it all. I love everything that you're doing with your life, and your life sounds a lot simpler and quieter than it had been before. And I do recall past conversations we've had and just catching up that sometimes you feel like you're not doing enough. And I always
Oh
talk to you
yes,
about
I
like
think
how you need to do less, right?
Yes, because I think it's an American thing. Since I moved to America, I feel like everybody's thriving, everybody's doing things, and me, I just feel like, oh my God, I'm not really achieving a lot. But you're right. Sometimes I just need to remind myself that, hey, it's fine. You're fine. Like you don't need a lot of things. You're okay. Like respect your own pace, Jaymee. Like, each person has their own pace and achievements. So relax, because I remember one time I was going on a hike with a bunch of American friends, right?
Hmm.
And they were all talking about their goals, and they said like, okay, so what are you manifesting for this week? What are the goals you're gonna achieve? And then this other girl said, I am gonna post this big deal of this and this dollars. I'm gonna own it and close that deal for sure. And then this
Yeah.
other girl was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this apartment and start a family and na na na. And then this other girl is like, yeah, I'm gonna get this client to sign up with me. And then this other girl is like, I'm gonna open my business and crush it. And then they looked at me and it's like, well, what's your goal, Jaymee? I'm like, I'm gonna do yoga and stay alive and write my blog and shoot my video. And I'm just looking at them like, oh my God, I feel like a loser compared to these girls who are like, yeah, business, family, yeah, quota, and get this, I don't know, woohoo, like big, make big changes, bam, bam, bam. And me, I'm like, I'm just gonna do yoga and do my blogs. It's like I don't even mention any numbers. Like I'm not hitting any quota or any amount or I don't know, closing any client. I don't know. I'm just like I just want to stay alive. Like that's all
Right.
I want to do. And then they just look at me and they're all quiet, like, oh, that's good. Like you're happy for you. Like I can tell that they're just like trying to cheer me up. But I'm like, but I felt really kind of like, oh my God, I sound so Filipino. Like it's so typical for Asian and Europeans to just live life, la dolce vita, la c'est la vie. Like not really about the money and the figures and the achievements. It's just live day to day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just yeah, I have to remind myself that okay, Jaymee, relax. Like don't try to run the rat race. You're good. You're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I was gonna like I agree with you. I think sometimes depending on what groups you're around, what social groups, sometimes you can feel like that only person that's like, yeah, I'm definitely not like up to speed with everyone else. I'm not up to par. But I think everyone has different seasons, right? And different stages in their life. And there's sometimes, just like your former life in the Philippines, it was very, go, 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 where now
oh
you're
yeah.
you slowed down and you already know what it's like to live that life. And maybe these women, this is the first time they've ever really felt so busy, or they're, it's just their different a different season for them where they feel like they have to be really ambitious and they have to hit certain milestones in their life. And that's just them, and that's okay, just like where you're at. Like where you're at is completely okay as well.
Yes. Seasons. It's called seasons. I feel like, maybe it's my fall and my winter right now or something, and other women it's their summer. So they gotta just keep going. And I can't
Yeah.
compare it. I can't say why am I not there? Because I was in the Philippines, I was, the go getter, the achiever, and then I did the whole travel the world thing. And now I'm just kind of on this chill mode and I just want to document stuff and share my thoughts, my art, my um ideas. So it's yeah, it's just really different in the season of life. I agree.
Yeah, and honestly, I would prefer to have a chill life like yours. I mean, I want to be driven by inspiration, not competition, or the desire to reach certain milestones. I kind of just want to hang out and be like, oh, that sounds like a great idea, and do something with it. Like I
That's
think,
true. That's true.
yeah, but art comes from so many different um, art comes from so many different like types of motivation, and so it is what it is. Anyway, I'm just saying that it's great that you're in a place where you're in a way taking it easy, or really just doing things that you enjoy and focusing on yourself, and using your collection of stories in your life to share to the public and through social media. I think it's really awesome.
Thanks,
So
Jen. I do what I can. I mean, sometimes I feel. I mean, I'll be honest completely that I would love to hopefully make more money. I mean, not big money, but right now working part-time in the library and still building the social media. Of course, I'm not really making a lot right now, but it's fine. Like I'm okay. It's not my priority, but it would be so nice to eventually at least kind of make more, just so I don't have to like worry about finances in the long run.
Yeah.
So that would be like maybe my next goal. But right now I'm still good. I'm still good in terms of like my savings and everything. I'm still able to sustain my lifestyle. So it's not so bad. And I'm okay. I'm a very simple woman. Like I can be
Yeah.
happy with very minimal things. As long as I have my good food, I'm all good. Good food and good rest, and I can make my art and I have my friends to talk to. I think that's all. I'm simple now. I'm very easy.
I love it. You know, I a couple weeks ago or some time ago, I heard this really awesome quote that has stuck with me since I've heard it. And it says something like, he never gives you a dream that's within your budget. It's always going to be something that is out of your budget, right? And so when I heard that, it it really reassured me that no matter what I'm doing in life, it doesn't matter what my finances will look like, because if it's in front of me, if it's something that I desire, if it's something that I want, I know that God is going to give it to me one way or the other, even if it's not the way that I actually want it. And he always provides, and so something like that, where having that in mind, it just, yeah, you could just be happy with where you're at. And if you do have a goal, just know that, even if you don't know how exactly to get there, that's the fun part, right? Is figuring out what
Yeah,
resources, what connections, what part-time hustle, part-time jobs or side hustles you need to get to that goal. And that's what makes it fun.
that's
So,
true. That's true.
yeah, well, I want to go ahead and jump to really my favorite part of the interview, our final question, really. With everything that you said, you mentioned in your interview questions that one thing you learned about life is that it's very unpredictable and random. Therefore, it's just important to be grateful every second you're alive and breathing. So, I'd love for you to elaborate on that and also share if there's a particular story or a specific milestone or experience in your life that led you to, really just be grateful and be grateful for every second you're alive and breathing.
Yes, because I noticed that first world country problems are I'm not saying it's shallow, but sometimes I feel like people focus too much on the little things and make a big problem out of it when there's actually not much of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where the inspiration comes in, where I feel like people should focus more on the fact that they have I'm just speaking in behalf of like living in America as compared to living in a developing country like the Philippines. There's so much here, So see, even the library, I'm just so in awe with the library. It's like, wow, they have big library and they have good access and all these things. And I think Americans take it for granted. Even when I was
That's
living in
true.
Spain, it's the same. The Spanish people take Spain for granted. And to me, I was looking at everything and I was just taking pictures of everything because, wow, cathedral, wow, art, wow. I'm just like, wow, 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 everywhere. And then all these people just complain about, I don't know, they lost football or something. It's just that, oh, come on, you know what I mean? Like sometimes it takes someone from a fresh perspective like me to remind everyone how good you have it, And I think people are just so blinded and maybe so spoiled, so immune to like the goodness that they have that they don't
Yeah.
appreciate it anymore. And I think like in my experience coming here in America and being so blessed to have good access to medical care, I'm with UCSD as my medical team and they're amazing. And, just coming from when I was doing my chemotherapy, after chemo, I can just like go to the beach for a while and chill. And I'm just like, oh, this is so great. Imagine if I did this in Manila where it's just traffic and there's no beach
Mm.
and polluted and and oh my God, like I don't know if I can manage the stress along with my treatments, but here, in San Diego, there's just this beautiful, perfect weather almost every day. And, there's barely traffic. And so to me, it's like, I think I would love to remind people listening that, that each situation has a pro and con, but you can always look at the pro and just appreciate that, because I
Right.
remember in the Philippines, I used to complain a lot about people were always just because in the Philippines it's a very tribal culture, so we love to be in each other's business all the time. Like, are you okay? Have you eaten? Do you want to eat?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's overwhelming. Sometimes I'm like, I want to be left alone. Like, can you just Stop asking about my life. Stop offering me food. Stop like nosing about my business. It's just
Yeah.
it's all in my face. I hate it. Fuck you all. Like, leave me alone. And then I come to America and I'm just like, now I miss it because I'm like, I wish I didn't complain back home too much because America's very individualistic and
Yes.
it's different. So now I'm like, I miss the attention. I miss people just checking on me all the time. I miss, getting into this tribe and eating together and, and just staying until midnight singing karaoke, So see, like, you just need a little bit of a change of perspective to appreciate what you have. And me, like, living in America, experiencing cancer here really made me see how great it is to have access to a Filipino American community, because I get the love and care from the Filipinos here and the community here, and I get the advanced treatment and the professionalism and the efficiency of the American system.
Mm-hmm.
So see, I see the best of both, and I just don't complain anymore. Like, I don't see the negative of America or negative of the Philippines. I'm like, whatever. I just see the best in both and make the most of it. So
Yeah.
I think people should just see that, like, even in simple things, because when I had my second diagnosis, it was a combination. It was combined with this annoying dry cough for 6 months that I've had and didn't go away.
Yeah.
And so I had a hard time talking. And along with that came depression, because I'm like, oh my God, I have this cough that's undiagnosed and won't go away. And I had a second cancer diagnosis and I have this depression and anxiety. So I really thought, like, okay, this is it. My life sucks. This is it, people. I'm just, I'm useless now and I'm just going to go down and die and whatever. I was just in this horrible state of mind and I thought there's no way out. And, I just had to day by day appreciate what I have. I'm just like, okay, I can still see, I can still feel, I can walk, I can still eat. So I don't think about talking because I couldn't talk because of the cough. And so see, I had to force myself into looking at, like, okay, I have eyes, I can listen, I can still feel, I can still eat, I can walk, I can still do my library job. It doesn't require a lot of talking. So I can still write because I can't do my video blogs at that time. That's why my videos went kind of stagnant. I couldn't, like, keep up with uploading videos because I couldn't talk properly because of the cough. So see, I had to, it made me see those things because of the circumstances. And now that my cough disappeared and my cancer is kind of like responding to the treatment very well, now I'm like, okay, wow, it's so good to talk. Now I'm really going to use my voice to talk and connect with people. And now I'm not going to waste my time. I'm just going to be very resourceful. I'm going to take very, very good care of my body. I'm going to sleep if I need to sleep. See, it's like I had to experience all these shit, before I see how great I have it. And now I'm just not ever going to take life for granted. And the gifts I have right now, like, literally, I wake up in the morning and I move my hands. I'm like, okay, my hands are moving. I can see, I can smell, I can talk, I can taste. I have feet, I can walk. All right, yay, we're good. Like, great. I'm just like that now. Like, I'm not even thinking about money, or I'm just like, okay, body parts are complete. I'm walking. I woke up. It's good.
Yep.
Yay, it's just good. So yeah, so I think people should really just be very, very, very grateful to be alive, because it's a privilege. It's not given to everybody. Some people get cut short, some people lose body parts, some people, like my case, have cancer where even if it's being controlled, it's still a constant reminder in my head that, it could just end at any time. So I have to enjoy life, and, so do people. No, don't ever stress about little things anymore, and just be with your loved ones, do what you love, be happy, and take care of yourself, and just appreciate everything. That's all there is, because it's a gift. Life is a gift. It's something that needs to be experienced and not just go through it. It's not just like, I'm just gonna eat to stay alive. No, like, appreciate each and every bite. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. So yeah.
Yeah, I love everything you said, Jaymee. In fact, a lot of things that you said, like, oh, I have, even saying I woke up today, I can see, like, I have vision. Like, my eyesight's horrible, but I have glasses, so I can see, I have clean water that I can drink. I have my own private bathroom because I know what it's like to share bathrooms, For myself too, I like to count my blessings when I first wake up. And even when things get really difficult and I'm feeling really down, one of the first things I try to do, or one of the first things, the way that I react when I'm feeling really down is I try to find something to do. I'll say like, oh, well, I could get up. I could, walk to the other room. I can get a cup of water. I can go outside for a walk with my dog. And, I try not to, I think it's good to validate your feelings if you need to complain about something or you need to vent, right? But you don't have to, you shouldn't stay there. Like deal with it the way that you need to deal with it, whether it's talking to a friend or, reading a self-help book or going to therapy or whatever you need to do. But the point is to not sit on that, is not to dwell on whatever you're dissatisfied about, because life truly is a gift. And we didn't choose, we were given this life. We are in debt to being alive, and we should appreciate it. And so I just love everything that you said. And I hope, for our listeners, it's a good reminder to appreciate the little things, like, oh, I have 2 feet and I have 10 toes. And if it wasn't for those 10 toes, I wouldn't be able to stand up correctly. Just little things like that. And I love how you said that, and I appreciate that. And I hope that our listeners appreciate that as well. And if anyone does feel compelled to saying anything or want to add to this conversation, feel free to leave us a message. We have our in our show notes. You can learn how to leave a voice message, in which we can play in a future episode where we might bring Jaymee back if we have callers. And yeah. And so if any of Jaymee's story really resonated with you, we'd love to hear from you, and love to, whether you leave us a voice message or email us, we'd love to hear how this episode has impacted you in any way. So with that said, Jaymee, do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
Yes, I am currently on a mission to live long, win strong, and stay fab. And I hope that I can inspire you guys along the way as I go through this journey of mine, because this is not just done for me, it's for other people. I would love to just be a good influence to people going through hard times and chronic diseases, or adjusting in a new country, and finding your life. I'm about to hit midlife right now, so I'm still in this whole transition period. There's so much transitions happening in my life, from patient to person, from being in I call it like my woman child. I'm turning into a midlifer. So it's like, so many things. But, that's my goal. And hopefully I get to inspire, uplift, and empower anybody out there with my stories and my sharings and my art. So yes, let's keep winning. Jaymee wins, and so can you.
And I want to thank you, Jaymee, for taking the time to chat with me before your big day, your birthday. I know you've been doing this amazing countdown on your Instagram. And if anyone is interested in following her, you could find her on Jaymee_wins. Jaymee is spelled Jaymee, and then _wins, like you're winning. And
Yes.
Jaymee is very transparent about her life. So if you're just looking for daily inspiration, or you want to get inspiration from a real person who's very open about her life and everything, and you need that, definitely check her out. You could also visit her website, JaymeeWins.com. And if you want to contact her, her email is also really easy. It's just JaymeeWins@gmail.com. So with that said, Jaymee, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you, and I appreciate our friendship. And I am excited to continue following your journey. And hopefully, if we have some callers, we would love to have you on another time to address our callers, and if they have any questions or comments that they want to share with you. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, sounds good. I'd love that. That would be great. I would be very, very happy. And thanks again for inviting me for this podcast, Jen. You know how I love chatting with you, whether on cam, off cam, podcast, off podcast, whatever. I'm just here for you. You know that, girl. You know that. We've always had crazy conversations, and I feel like even if I'm about to turn 40 and you're this young woman, I just feel like I connect with you in so many levels. It's insane. I can talk to you for like a whole day. So it's great connecting with you. I'm really glad we met, and we're still in this friendship together.
Yes. Yeah. Even though we are coast apart, it feels like we're in each other's backyard still, and it just makes me really happy. And social media really makes the world feel so much smaller. So, all right, Jaymee, thank you so much. Thank you to our listeners, and we will talk to you all next time, in the next episode. Take care.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening.
And there you have it, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe if you'd like to hear more stories and life lessons told by the Filipino American woman. If you're interested in sharing your story, please contact us at thefilipinoamericanwoman@gmail.com or find us on Instagram at thefilipinoamericanwoman. Until next time.